a few minutes ago, I signed Mr. Ofori's residence was staged. Ladies and gentlemen of the media, the fugitive's name is Kenneth Nanaya Ofori.
In fact, the OSP can say Ejaben, Chairman, he say we don't know. The OSP is very, very serious this time around. And then the man is coming with a lot of heat. You know, any of what we are not say President and Addo Akufo-Addo, find a Juma, and I say in the powerful friend, he say Alpha Obra Juma. Because the way the man is talking, with some aggressiveness, the real seekers, I want him say, I say, as a show, because now, as a no bogus, no. Say the OSP is very, very serious this time around. And then this time around, all Chini, Anna NPP, Nina, NDC, no. This time around, we are building a better country, we are building a better Ghana, we are building the new Ghana, and then we are resetting the country indeed. As Your Excellency John Dramani Mahama said, but that's not the prayer of John Dramani Mahama alone. We, the youth of this country, also, we fight for resetting the country. We are speaking for the betterment of this Republic of Ghana. Indeed, the OSP, after the watch and the memo, is saying the office of the special prosecutor, led by Kese Ejaben, they say Nanya because of say was in Sambia course or mine, Munachese, Ken Ofori and was a some na sifumel bufu chese and some photogramano. Aye. Now, according to the OSP, yes, which is Kese Ejaben, was it? She said, they can Ofori on what that dream one. In fact, how can a normal human being do this? Because of say who can Ofori yama invitation say bra. Now scandals be also some corruption and then bribery connections be also. You are the center of it. This time around, we are giving you the opportunity to come and then talk, and I say, come and clear yourself from it. But you are trying to prove so wouldn't answer change the OSP. Now, according to the OSP, was say second Ofori pill on new OSP. You make sure that those investigations or some allegations against Ken Ofori this time around, it is not just any allegation, but rather we think that it is being backed by some evidences. Now, the OSP has finally declared Ken Ofori wanted. Now, why has the OSP finally declared Ken Ofori wanted? I have BJ show me so I saw best subscribe after so we are sharing link in my phone. And the next thing is you do well to leave a comment. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let me brief you through what the OSP led by Kese Ejaben and some of their tuja and area. And some now course on Abusia, as some now know the year. And then the way the OSP is speaking, Chama and Bofu. Now, some men are Kese Ejaben their tuja. Yes. Now, according to the OSP, was it some time ago? The OSP wrote a letter to Ken Ofori as Omra, that is some investigation. And because of said there are a lot of scandals, I just say a bon Ken Ofori including the $34 million ambulance scandal. That's number one. Number two, the GRA scandal. Number three is the electricity company of Ghana, and so many scandals. Ken Ofori indeed, some OSP can say no credit any Ken Ofori him say Chama ya boy Juma ye pa. Chama ya boy Juma papa. According to the OSP, they wrote a letter to Ken Ofori for him to come and then rectify some information. But on your information, Eddie free Ken Ofori hodom, which is the lawyers and he said, Sebi, Ken Ofori into me ma. She said, ne who was it? Ken Ofori jare I also akwa abrochire na a chairman kwaji medicals. So indefinitely. Now they don't know when Ken Ofori will be back. So the OSP should suspend. And now says and papa mu OSP ni betimi atoto money lawyers ano. Na same way parent lawyers and indifferent medical ma OSP. Into na ye papa. Obi adi ni bwana was wo ba na wo be yi nsam na no. Are you the person? Are you Ken Ofori? Is Ken Ofori you?
Ladies and gentlemen of the media, a few minutes ago, I signed a directive declaring a high-profile person a fugitive from justice. This person is wanted by the OSP to answer charges in respect of several cases, including the following. 1. Contractual arrangements between Strategic Mobilization Ghana Limited and the Ghana Revenue Authority for the stated objective of the enhancement of revenue assurance in the downstream petroleum sector, upstream petroleum production, and minerals and metals resources value chain. 2. Termination of a distribution, loss reduction, and associated network improvement project contract between the Electricity Company of Ghana Limited and Beijing Zhaochen Technology BXC. 3. Procurement of contractors and materials and activities and payments in respect of the National Cathedral project. 4. Activities and payments in respect of a contract awarded by the Ministry of Health, initially commenced by the Ministry for Special Development Initiatives to Service Ghana Auto Group Limited for purchases and after-sales service and maintenance of 307 Mercedes-Benz Sprinter 305 CDI ambulances for the National Ambulance Service. And 5. Payments out of and utilization of the tax refund account of Ghana Revenue Authority. Ladies and gentlemen of the media, the fugitive's name is Kenneth Nanaya Ofori Atta. Mr. Ofori Atta is 66 years old. He was the Minister of Finance of the Republic between 2017 and 2024. Mr. Ofori Atta left the jurisdiction on or around 2 January 2025. On 24 January 2025, the OSP communicated to Mr. Ofori Atta that the OSP considered him a suspect in respect of 4 of the cases described above. Mr. Ofori Atta was directed to attend in person the OSP on Monday, 10 February 2025 at 10 GMT for interview. By communication dated 31 January 2025, Mr. Ofori Atta instructed his lawyers to inform the OSP that he was out of the jurisdiction indefinitely on medical grounds, and that the firm will notify the OSP of his arrival in the country in aid of rescheduling his personal attendance at the OSP. Further, the firm offered its willingness to provide the OSP with any information the OSP may require to aid in the investigation until his arrival in the country. Then on 5 February 2025, the OSP responded to Mr. Ofori Atta, copied to his lawyers, that the OSP did not need or require notification from his lawyers of his arrival in the jurisdiction. The OSP acknowledged Mr. Ofori Atta's lawyers' gracious offer to provide the OSP with information in aid of the investigation. However, and this is important, the OSP insisted that Mr. Ofori Atta's personal attendance at the OSP was required. After all, the lawyers are not under investigation. I don't need lawyers to answer questions on your behalf when you are being investigated. The OSP declined Mr. Ofori Atta's request to be away from the jurisdiction indefinitely on medical grounds on his say-so. Consequently, the OSP directed Mr. Ofori Atta to indicate by close of business on Monday, 10 February 2025, a reasonable date of his return to the jurisdiction and attendance at the OSP. The OSP warned Mr. Ofori Atta that if he failed so to do, the OSP would take all necessary legal steps to secure his return to the jurisdiction and attendance at the OSP at our own choosing. Subsequently, by communication dated 10 February 2025, that is just Monday, Mr. Ofori Atta's lawyers transmitted to the OSP a generic letter procured by Mr. Ofori Atta purporting to be from a doctor in a foreign jurisdiction, stating that Mr. Ofori Atta had been seen and evaluated, and that he was undergoing further testing and management and possible surgical intervention at an indicated future time. And further, that his medical condition necessitates that he will stay and follow up on his appointments. On account of this purported medical letter, Mr. Ofori Atta's lawyers prayed that the attendance in person of Mr. Ofori Atta at the OSP should be fixed, taking into account the medical report from his doctors. Then at 4:16 p.m. the very next day, that is yesterday, Tuesday, 11 February 2025, before we could respond to the letter that came on Monday, the OSP received another letter from Mr. Ofori Atta's lawyers. This time, it was an inquiry.
Okay, so that's the OSP. Can say Ejaben, somebody to Janum. Now, first from that issue, the OSP says, Sebi, or no Kese Ejaben. It is uncalled for, it is unlawful. In fact, it is an uncivilized manner for the OSP to go and do some nasty jobs. According to Kese Ejaben, some okay na say robbery na call so e wo Kenoforiata film. Onya ho letter. Sign Kenoforiata say opese ohun say eye OSP no and the man in Crawford for years and and then some media houses has already publicized those issues. Say the OSP ne man Crawford kwan say omonko not just omonko say Kenoforiata fee no mumpa evidence and family. According to the OSP, in fact, was it those things are cheap works, and then it is an unwise. It does not make sense. So on no OSP obebo obi fie and also obesuma Crawford without a sign of him. Say, Ampa, we are from the office of the special prosecutor without showing any badge, and then they will just bash him into the house and then start to scrutinize and then do things. According to the OSP, what's one? It is a stage thing by Kenoforiata. Kenoforiata na say a stage na there. So they don't know why Kenoforiata will stage say something be a nyansa be any. Enter the OSP.
Mr. Oforiata's lawyers wanted to know, and they stated that they were informed by the household of Mr. Oforiata that in the morning of Tuesday, 11 February 2025, that is yesterday, 12 men, comprising 1 police officer, 4 military men, and 7 other men in plain clothing, visited Mr. Oforiata's house, and that by threat of force, they were able to enter Mr. Oforiata's house, and they undertook an exercise purporting to be a search of every room, office, gym, and other spaces in the house. Mr. Oforiata's lawyers then inquired if the OSP could confirm that the actions of the 12 men were the instance of the OSP, so as to enable them to decide if a complaint to the police would be unnecessary. Mr. Oforiata's lawyers then prayed for a prompt response from the OSP to prevent imposter action. We are now responding promptly, and we have chosen the course of answering Mr. Oforiata's inquiry publicly at this briefing, considering the circumstances surrounding the purported raid at Mr. Oforiata's house, media reportage of the purported raid, and in light of the reckoning that some media houses have stated emphatically that the OSP was behind the purported raid, and in light of the reckoning that the purported raid is being made to appear as if it was some untoward action by the OSP stemming from some contrived vendetta held by the OSP against Mr. Oforiata. So, here we go. And this is our response to Mr. Oforiata directly, but through you, the media. Mr. Oforiata, the OSP did not raid your house on Tuesday, 11 February 2025, or on any other day. Mr. Oforiata, the OSP did not cause any persons, however uniformed or bedecked, to raid your house on Tuesday, 11 February 2025, or on any other day. Mr. Oforiata, that could not have been the OSP, and that is not our style. If the OSP enters your premises, you will not be in doubt as to whether it was the OSP that had come there, and your lawyers will not have cause to do an inquiry ascertaining whether it was the OSP. We have our unique methods of conducting searches, and we have uniquely designed insignia identifying ourselves, and not just by a statement that we are from the OSP. This is one such main insignia. A person cannot just show up and say they are from the OSP. It's cheap. Anyone can say that. But when the OSP enters your premises, you will definitely know by our insignia, our methods, and the way we identify ourselves that this is the OSP. Our intelligence states that the purported raid on Mr. Oforiata's residence was staged, or at best, an imposter action in an attempt to court disfavor for the OSP and to derail the investigation. You know us very well. The OSP is never deterred by such occurrences, and the investigations will continue as by law prescribed. These occurrences and the OSP's intelligence which will not be revealed at this time for fear of compromising the investigation, are very instructive as not to put premium on Mr. Oforiatta's alleged imminent peril should he travel back to the jurisdiction. In any case, the purported medical letter transmitted through his lawyers to the OSP did not state so or demonstrate so. The OSP is unconvinced that the purported medical letter transmitted by Mr. Oforiatta through his lawyers to the OSP represents a medical report to the effect that Mr. Oforiatta is incapacitated or is so sickly and invalid to the extent that he is physically unable to return to the jurisdiction without imperiling his life. No serious law enforcement agency, and certainly not the OSP, will be convinced that the purported medical letter stops it from demanding the physical appearance of Mr. Oforiatta before it in the described circumstances. We are of the firm conviction here that this is only a ruse employed by Mr. Oforiatta in aid of his intention to avoid returning to the jurisdiction and to personally answer questions in respect of the investigations. We are convinced that the real intention of Mr. Oforiatta is what was communicated to the OSP in the very first letter transmitted by his lawyers on 31 January 2025. That is, he has left the jurisdiction indefinitely. That was what was communicated to us at the first instance, and that is his intention. He has no intention of willingly returning to the jurisdiction. That much is clear to us. Consequently, ladies and gentlemen of the media, the OSP declares Kenneth Nanaya Oforiatta a wanted person.
Okay, so that is the OSP. Can say Eja some of the two down. And the way the OSP is talking, in the chairman Bofu. Chairman Bofu Papa said, was it Addo 1 year and ultimate farmer tone so. Now we are praying, said the Ghana that we all want this time around, a Ghana that will fight corruption. Even though we can't fight corruption like 100% from the system. But scandals need to be a course on. Now no thing. Now no thing. Papa. So if the OSP this time around is very aggressive and then has finally declared Ken Oforiatta wanted. So now as I'm talking to you, the honorable member has been declared wanted. What the hell, man? A former finance minister of the state has been declared wanted. Sorry. This is the first history in the Republic of Ghana. Now we are praying that this time around some things are not going to be political issues, because initially what the OSP is doing, they say who said they say one free the party them. The name say so they were put there draw there. I had them BJ so I shall subscribe. After so we are sharing link in my phone. And the next thing is you do well.
This is the BJ Show with Wánt3d. Don't forget to subscribe.